Section 20 of Good Things to Eat as suggested by Rufus. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Good Things to Eat as suggested by Rufus, by Rufus Estes. Section 20. Desserts, sauces for puddings, and beverages. Desserts. Apples stuffed with dates. Core large, slightly acid apples and fill with stoned dates. Pour over them equal parts of sugar and water boiled together. Baste the apples frequently while baking. Serve as a dessert at dinner or luncheon. Apple sponge pudding. 1 cup of sifted pastry flour and sift it with 1 level teaspoon of baking powder. Beat the yolks of 3 eggs until light colored, add 1 cup of sugar and the juice of 1 lemon. Fold in the stiffly beaten whites of the 3 eggs and then the flour. Spread the batter thinly on a large shallow pan and bake about 20 minutes in a moderate oven. Turn out of the pan, trim off any hard edges, spread with stewed, sweetened, and flavored apples, and roll up at once like a jelly roll. Serve with a liquid sauce, or a syrup made from sugar and water. Apricot Kisses. Beat the whites of 2 eggs until very light and still. Flavor with 1/2 teaspoon vanilla, and then carefully fold in 1 cup of fine granulated sugar. Lay a sheet of paraffin paper over the bottom of a large baking pan and drop the mixture on the paper, in any size you wish from 1 teaspoon to 2 tablespoons. Have them some distance apart so they will not run together. Bake them in a very moderate oven and be careful to bake sufficiently, say 45 minutes. They should be only delicately colored and yet dry all through. When done, remove to a platter and break the top in. Remove a little of the inside and fill pulp of sifted peaches, sweetened and mixed with equal parts of whipped cream. Sprinkle pistachio nuts over the top and serve fancy cakes. Baked custard. Beat 4 eggs, whites and yolks together lightly, and add a quart of milk, 4 tablespoons sugar, a pinch of salt, and flavoring. Bake in stoneware cups or a shallow bowl set in a pan of water. Baked bananas, Puerto Rican fashion. Select rather green bananas, put them, without removing the skins, into hot ashes or a very hot oven, and bake until the skins burst open. Send to the table in a folded napkin. The skins help hold in the heat, and are not to be removed until the moment of eating. Serve plenty of butter with them. Banana and lemon jelly cream. Soak 1/2 box of gelatin in 1 cup of cold water. Shave the rind of 1 lemon, using none of the white, and steep it with 1 square inch stick of cinnamon in 1 pint of boiling water, 10 minutes. Add the soaked gelatin, 1 cup of sugar, and 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice, and when dissolved, strain into shallow dishes. When cold, cut it in dice, or break it up with a fork, and put it in a glass dish in layers with spiced bananas. Pour a cold boiled custard over them and cover with the meringue. Brown the meringue on a plate and slip it off over the custard. Custard pudding. Line a baking dish with slices of sponge cake. Make a boiled custard with 4 cups of milk and the yolks of 5 eggs, 1/2 cup of sugar, and flavored with vanilla. Pour the custard into the baking dish. Beat the whites of the eggs to a stiff froth with 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and spread over the top. Set in a very slow oven to brown slightly. Custard souffle. Mix 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 cup flour, and 1 cup of cold milk. Stir till it thickens, add 1/4 cup of butter. Cool. Stir in the beaten yolks of 4 eggs, and then the stiffly beaten whites. Turn into a buttered, shallow dish. Set in a pan of hot water, and bake in a moderate oven half an hour. Serve at once. Fig and rhubarb. Wash 2 bunches of rhubarb and cut into inch pieces without peeling. Put into a boiler with a cupful sugar and 4 or 5 figs cut in inch pieces. Put on the cover and cook over hot water until the rhubarb is tender and the syrup is rich and jelly-like in consistency. Raisins are nice cooked in rhubarb the same way. If preferred, and you are to have a hot oven anyway, put the rhubarb and figs or raisins in a stone pot. Cover closely and bake in the oven until jellied. Cold rhubarb dessert. Peel tender stalks and cut enough into half-inch pieces to measure 2 cups. Cook with 1 cup of water, the grated rind from a large orange, and 2 cups of sugar. Do not stir while cooking, but lift from the range now and then to prevent burning. When soft but not broken, add 2 1/2 teaspoons of gelatin soaked 15 minutes in 1/2 cup of cold water. Stir with a fork just enough to mix and pour all into a large mold. When formed, unmold and serve with cream. German dessert. Beat 2 eggs and a pinch of salt, add 2 cupfuls of milk, and pour into a deep plate. Soak slices of bread in this, one at a time until softened, but not enough to break. Melt a rounding tablespoon of butter in a pan, and in this brown the bread on both sides. Serve with an orange pudding sauce, or any kind of liquid sauce preferred. Lemon sponge. Soak 1/2 box of gelatin in 1/2 cup of cold water. Add the juice of 4 lemons to 1 cup of sugar, then the beaten yolks of 4 eggs. Add 2 cups of cold water and bring it to a boiling point. Stir in the soaked gelatin and strain into a large bowl set in a pan of ice. Beat now and then until it begins to harden, then add the unbeaten whites of 4 eggs and beat continuously until the sponge is light and firm. Fill into molds before the sponge is too hard to form into the shape of the mold. Mosaic jelly. 1 1/2 cups of milk, 2 level tablespoons sugar, rind of 1/2 lemon, 1/2 bay leaf, 1 level tablespoon granulated gelatin, 1/4 cup of water, yolks 2 eggs. Scald the milk with the sugar, lemon rind, and bay leaf, then add the gelatin soaked in water for 20 minutes. Stir until dissolved and strain the hot mixture gradually into the egg yolks slightly beaten. Return to double boiler and stir until thickened. Remove from fire and color 1/2 of the mixture either pink or green, and turn each half into a shallow pan wet with cold water. When cold, cut into squares or oblongs. Line a mold with lemon jelly and garnish with the colored pieces. Add the remaining jelly, chill thoroughly, and serve on a platter garnished with whipped cream. Pineapple Bavarian Cream. Grate enough pineapple to make 2 cups. Soak 2 level teaspoons of gelatin in 1/2 cup cold water for 20 minutes. Heat the pineapple to the scalding point. Add the soaked gelatin and stir until dissolved. Then add 1/3 cup sugar. Stir and fold in 3 cups of beaten cream. Turn into molds and chill. Scalloped apple. Measure 2 even cupfuls of fine breadcrumbs and pour